When you enter a casino, you're more likely to gamble away your life savings, as luck isn't on your side. This is how gambling works, preying on your thrill of eventually hitting that jackpot that you never will. Dungeon Clawler takes the idea of a claw machine, removes the obvious scam of never being able to pick things up to win, and then adds a roguelike twist to it all with a lot of deck building depth and monster encounters, which is honestly quite a lot of fun as a concept alone. It's a very addictive time waster because there are so many different characters with distinctive playstyles thanks to their claw arms, which they acquired after losing them in gambling at what appears to be a mafia casino of sorts while down on our luck. Obviously, with any action roguelike that you play, you will always encounter unique builds that are just far more powerful than any of the others. This is exactly the case with Dungeon Clawler. While each character does have their own specific powers and styles, it really just comes down to getting the magnet upgrade and turning it into the golden version while upgrading all of the tiny metal weapons. This makes it so that each and every turn you have a huge amount of damage potential if you can grab it, which really isn't all that difficult, especially with the extra magnetic claw arm. While playing as a character like Count Clawler with a ton of poison and self-sustain making you immortal so long as you have the damage to apply in large amounts every single turn. You can tell there are various builds that you can try depending on your luck with the one that you presently have. You may have been fortunate enough to have a water-based build in which a piranha swims around eating all of the fluff and gaining bonus damage over time until it suddenly jumps out of the water itself into the machine to finish off the boss who was just about to take you out after your turn. A lot of these builds can actually be pretty interesting. You can have lava builds, poison builds, reflect builds, sustain builds, minion builds, and so on. It really just comes back to the concept of playing the strongest build, because the game really doesn't pull its punches with some of the bosses that must be defeated on the first few turns or it will be next to impossible to deal with them once they have the ability to one-shot you. After completing a run, you will reacquire that character's arm and possibly unlock a new character in which you will also have to win with them to regain their arm. There isn't much else outside of this feature currently in terms of progression. If you're really into gambling games that are simple to play and provide a new way to enjoy them without having to spend real-life money, then you should definitely check out Dungeon Clawler. I've sunk over 6 hours into the game going through many different adjustments, including builds, characters, even the little music shift here and there, and I've had a great time with it. There's a diverse range of enemies with various effects and powers that you must be aware of. The components of the claw machine, which forces you to consider where you want to spend your limited attempts to get most out of your gambling, make it highly enjoyable and replayable. I'd really like to see some additional elements that give a little bit more randomness to the game, such as limiting you from moving the claw in a specific direction or adding less control of it in general. There are so many countless possibilities here. In the current state of the game, it really just boils down to how well you can start with random events that provide you with powerful upgrades, alongside the bosses that you battle with the builds that you have, and of course your overall awareness of how to effectively utilize each and every item in your deck. I could see myself returning to it on occasion, but I do hope that they add more rewarding progression later on.